What is going on, guys? Z here, and today I'm gonna share to you my perfect all-around follow mode settings and setup that I have for my Ronin SC for run and gun situations. This will save you time and level up your proficiency and efficiency in using the SC. I also got some bonus recommendations for you guys, especially useful for beginners who would rather do things much easier and faster. So better stick around till the end, so let's go ahead and do this video. I have 5 different ways I use my gimbal, or actually currently just 4, but I might encounter someday the need for the 5th one, and probably the same case with you. These are the regular shooting when we hold the gimbal upright, which is of course not necessarily always perfectly vertical. The jib shooting, or raising the gimbal up or down, or perhaps tilting the camera upward or downward. The low angle shooting, the 360 barrel roll, and the POV. However, with the Ronin SC, we can only save 3 different follow modes internally. You can see what follow mode you are currently on by checking this LED lights on the gimbal's panel. And you can set this in the DJI app once it is connected to the gimbal. So for the other 2, either I set up the gimbal manually or use one of the saved follow modes to do the other job. But for the meantime, let's start with the first 3 that we can set up in the gimbal using the DJI app. But before we start, I would love to learn from you two guys. So my question is, what follow modes do you currently set on your own gimbal? And which one do you use the most or prefer to use more often? When you're in the app, we go to user profile, and here is where we're gonna do the following changes in the settings. For my first and default follow mode, which is going to be my M1, I selected pan follow since most of the shots we do are with the camera lens horizontally leveled. So basically, this is my go-to mode for my regular shooting. This mode will keep the camera lens horizontally oriented, as I've said, and the shot stable no matter how I move or how I hold the gimbal. I set the follow speed to fast, the dead band low, and push mode off. With these settings, the gimbal will follow exactly my every move without or almost without delay. And then for my mode number 2, it is set to pan and tilt. I go to this mode when I need to do shots that simulate jib camera movements. This will allow me to tilt the gimbal with the camera upward or downward while still getting stable footages aside from the side-to-side panning. Actually, if I'm only standing on the same spot or maybe just moving at a very slow controlled pace, if I need to tilt the camera up or down for this type of shot, I prefer to stay on my M1 and use the joystick instead to do the tilting. Although I also gently follow the tilting with the gimbal using my hands not only to give the shot a much smoother camera movement, but also to add angle and reach to the movement. But if I'm moving in such a way that all I can do is hold and point the gimbal and I can focus on controlling the joystick, that's the time I go to mode number 2. For the settings, I have it fast on the follow speed, the deadband is also low, and push mode also off. Now for my last follow mode, the M3, this is set to 3D roll 360. Obviously, this mode is for shooting in flashlight mode with the gimbal held horizontally and the camera is spinning around on the axis. Other users prefer the FPV or first person view mode as their third follow mode because they don't need to use the 360 in their projects. But I need it, I love it, so that's what I have as my third save setting. For this one, there's no setting to adjust under this mode, so I leave it as is. But I still have 2 more usages for my Ronin SC, and I already used up all the 3 follow mode slots in the gimbal. Well, this is where my bonus tips for you steps in the picture. For low angle shooting, almost all other tutorials I see on YouTube tells me to hold the gimbal upside down. That's cool and works, but I don't do it that way because I find carrying the gimbal horizontally makes the gimbal feels much more balanced and controlled. And I do it using the extra hand grip that I installed to my Ronin SC. I originally learned the idea from a colleague of mine, a fellow teacher who's also side hustling as an event videographer.
So mas professional siya sa akin pagdating sa mga ganyan. Okay, kasi may business siya. Anong pangalan ng business mo, sir?
Sa Alcervo Studio, sir.
Yes.
There was a time we were asked to film our school district's event and I saw him bring his own gimbal with a similar attachment on. I got curious about it and honestly, I got envious about it. I checked the internet and later learned that not only the professionals I follow here on YouTube are using external hand grips on their gimbals as well, but also the latest gimbals are now designed with dual handhelds like the Xiaoyun Weebill and the Scorpio from Fiotech, if I pronounce that right. And the dual handle design of gimbals are getting a lot of good reviews use in terms of handling. So I tried to find a cheaper alternative, and this that you see on my SC is actually made up of two different products, affordable products for me. I purchased separately. I do my low angle shooting using pan follow, which is the M1, because this mode keeps the camera lens horizontally leveled, and not to mention it is a lot easier just to tilt the camera downward or forward and get it into horizontal orientation rather than tinker on the buttons and the trigger, manually adjust the gimbal for the low angle upside down orientation. And adding an extra hand grip to my Ronin SC is not only for me holding the gimbal horizontally in a more convenient way, it also made my vertical handling of the gimbal a lot more comfortable. The gimbal feels much lighter and more stable in my hands. The weight feels a lot better distributed. So if you have a Ronin SC or maybe whatever gimbal that you have, whatever brand that you have, and you're thinking what accessory to buy next to upgrade it, I strongly recommend you go get for yourself an extra hand grip for your gimbal, your SC, and for sure, you're gonna enjoy using more your gimbal. In our case, the SC. And lastly, for the POV shooting, which I haven't done yet, but maybe I will someday to get that jittery look. What I can recommend to speed up your transition to this shooting mode without having to do anything much is to simply lock all the motors and use the gimbal as if you're filming handheld. Or use a third-party quick release plate to quickly unsnap and resnap the camera from and back to the gimbal and immediately start shooting handheld holding only the camera. And that's it. Those are my settings, my setup, and techniques for run and gun shooting with my Ronin SC. I hope you find some value from this video, and if you do, don't forget to leave a like for me, please. That will definitely support the channel. By the way, if you want to make your filming with the Ronin SC more convenient by being able to operate your camera directly from the gimbal, better check out this other video to learn more. And as always, guys, for the meantime, thank you so much for watching. I'll see you again next time, fellow creative people. I love you all. God bless.